Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Izza Aulia Ramadhani and I go by Izza. I am a 7th semester English education student college at UIN Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. And in this occasion, I would like to present my journal article with the title Exploring Multimodality in a Student Self-Directed Learning Unit to Facilitate Differentiated Learning. Okay, let's move to my background of my study. So for the first, multimodal learning involves the use of various forms of communication, such as text, visual, audio, and interactive elements to cater to diverse learning styles. And then student self-directed learning unit, or we can say in Indonesia is Unit Kegiatan Belajar Mandiri, UKBM, and then this refers to the textbook that designed to promote independent learning among students in Indonesia. And the multimodal elements in UKBM create a flexible learning experiences by accommodating various student needs, such as different learning style, readiness levels of student, and also the interest of the student. And that is also making it a valuable tool in achieving the objective of Curriculum Merdeka. And then for this issue of my background is while multimodal learning has proven to beneficial, limited research exists on how these elements specifically function within the context of UKBM. So for this issue, I have an opportunity to present to explore how multimodal elements are implemented in UKBM and their role in supporting differentiated learning. And then my purpose of my study is to explore how multimodal elements are used in a student self-directed learning unit to facilitate differentiated learning. So my focus on my study is to understand the specific ways multimodal elements contribute to creating flexible, personalized learning experiences for students in the context of independent study. And then for the next slide, I have a research question. There is only one research question. So, how are multimodal elements used in a student self-directed learning unit or UKBM to facilitate differentiated learning? So let's move to the next slide, everyone. For the next slide, I have a research method, and this is consists of several parts of the research method. For the first is the research design. So for my research, I used a qualitative research design to explore how multimodal elements in UKBM to facilitate differentiated learning. And then my subject of study is a student self-directed learning unit, or we can say UKBM in Indonesia. And then for my instrument is table analysis. So I use it for organizing and presenting findings from the content analysis. And then for my data collection technique, so I use the content analysis. The first one is I choose and gather the UKBM first, and then I read the UKBM to get an overview of its content and the structure. And then I identify the multimodal elements. I find and highlight different multimodal elements like text, images, audio, and interactive components within the UKBM. And then the last one is I record findings and organize the data. So for this part, I made a note or use a table to record where and how each type of multimodal elements used in UKBM. And then the last one is the data analysis. So I also use content analysis. And then for the first, I identify the key elements of multimodal. And then the second one is I use a coding system. So I make a simple list of codes to label different types of multimodal elements. And then the next is make a list or table, and then analyze and summarize the results on and finding. So for this part, I write a summary of what I found, and then I explain how the multimodal elements in the UKBM to supporting the differentiated learning style and needs. And then for the next, for the finding, I already found about the student self-directed learning unit that incorporated several types of multimodal elements to facilitate differentiated learning, such as images. So the textbook or the UKBM includes various pictures to assist students who learn best by visual means. And then the second one is diagrams. So there are diagrams like flowcharts and charts that can help students visualize and organize the information clearly. And then for the audio, the UKBM has audio recordings that help students who learn by listening. This including things like pronunciation guides and also spoken explanation. And then the last one is the videos. So there are so many videos in the UKBM that provide both visual and also the auditory information. And it can making learning more interesting for students who like to see and hear at the same time. And then for the discussion, I already interpret that from I can found on my research. So for the first is the multimodality elements, it can help in different types of the learners. For visual learners, the UKBM is great for students who learn by best by seeing. And then for the auditory learners, the UKBM includes audio recordings that help students who learn by listening. And then for the kinesthetic learners, although the UKBM mainly use visual and also the auditory elements, adding more interactive activities could help students who learn best through hands-on experiences. And then for the second discussion is meeting student needs. So I think the UKBM's different types of content help students at various levels. And then for the third is keeping student engaged. So by including video, images, and other materials, the UKBM keeps learning interesting for students with different interests. And this variety helps make the lessons more engaging and relevant. And then for the last part is the conclusion of my research. So I can conclude the analysis of the UKBM reveals that it effectively uses a variety of multimodal elements, such as the pictures, diagrams, and also audio recordings and the video. It can facilitate differentiated learning by addressing various student needs and preferences. So the inclusion of the videos and diverse content, it can keep students engaged and helps meet their individual readiness levels. And overall, I can conclude that the UKBM's multimodal elements can contribute to a personalized learning experience, allowing students to engage with the material in ways that best suit their learning style and interests. Okay, maybe that's all for my presentation for today. So, the last I say, wassalamualaikum and thank you very much.